Hello and welcome to another episode of Common Chaos Live with me, Christian Rauchenwald, on this rainy or dark Monday. I hope you all had a great weekend and have nicer weather than we have here today. As always, before we jump into today's episode, let's get the usual disclaimer out of the way. Everything that I share in this live stream / video is my personal opinion and in no way financial or professional advice of any kind. You should always do your own research, consult certified professionals, draw your own conclusions, and make your own decisions. Just like we introduced last week, we're going to switch up a little bit how we do things here. So use the chat to chat, and for actual questions, I'm going to start a Q&A now. What would you like to know? ? So you should now see at the top of the chat the Q&A where you can actually submit your questions. Now, I need a second here to fire something up on my other screen so I can also see the chat and not just the questions. But again, if you have a question that you want me to answer, click on the Q&A at the top of the chat, and then there click on submit question, or it actually will then ask you to submit a question. And that's how you get your questions submitted, and this way we have some order. I will also answer them in order. So the first one is already in from Ash. But before we get into the questions, I also want to share some general updates. In the meantime, hi Ash, hi Ronald the Groot. Yeah, I am Groot. Magic button, we switch here. So where do we start? We start actually with what I've bookmarked on Reddit. Not sure if I have everything still bookmarked, what I wanted to cover. Yes, first of all, something very, very important. So don't get alarmed, but a few users shared that they got emails that notified them about their wallet address being changed. Yeah. So here's what you have to do, and you really should do that. Or we cover the theory first. Yeah. So maybe you also received an email. If you received an email, I'm not sure if it's here in the conversation somewhere, but no, here it's not in the conversation. I had it somewhere with Mercury 1. So where do I have my dear Mercury? Mercury 1 there. There, and then there. Yeah. So if you received an email from Pi Network, you always have to check who is the sender of that email. Yeah. The official, I'm going to share the link, or cannot share it here. 1 second. I have to switch to a chat for a second. So like this. Hi Akashi, great to have you here. So this link that I just shared, I'm going to highlight it as well. So you can see this one here, mindpi.com/safety is what we're looking at right now. And switching back here. And here you can see the official email addresses that the Pi team uses. Yeah. Somewhere was it? There, emails. Yeah. So if the email comes from something at pi.email, at picoreteam.org, or at mindpi.com, it's an email that comes from the official team or from the app. And it's likely not a fake email. Yeah. So if you got an email that says your wallet address has changed, then check, or any other email about Pi Network, always double check that the sender is one of the official addresses. Now, those sender addresses can also theoretically be spoofed. So still be aware, never share your passphrase outside of the Pi wallet. Yeah. And that said, what you have to do for that, we have to switch here. And even if you didn't get an email, I encourage you to check. So in your Pi Network app, you can go to the menu, you can go to profile, and then where it says email address, you can press on update. I'm not going to do that right now because it shows then which email address you're using, and you double check that that email is still your real email address. Yeah. So again, I'm not going to do it during the live stream, but you have to press on where it says email address and then in blue update. And then check if your email address is still the right one. And then additionally, you go again to the main menu, you go to mainnet, and then you go to the mainnet checklist. And here you double check. You also need your Pi browser. So in the Pi browser, you go to wallet, and then you unlock your wallet, either by entering your passphrase or with some biometrics feature. And then you have to compare So in the top left, you see my wallet address, GA2GT, something, 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 24E. So you should ideally copy that address, put it in some other Node app or so you see the full address. And then you have to compare the address here. So GA in step number 3, GA2GT, and it ends with 24E5A, and you can see 24E5A. So for me, that address is still correct. Yeah. So make sure that that address still matches your wallet address. And then additionally check step number 6. There you should see, if I'm not mistaken, at the bottom, the wallet address, and that one should also match. Yeah. So 24E5A is the end, and the beginning is GA2GT for me. Yeah. So for me, it's still correct. So that's the important part now. So you should check that. If you got an email, definitely check it. If you didn't get an email, check it as well. Better safe than sorry. And if the wallet address or your email has been changed, you should go to your profile. You should obviously update your email address back to yours. Here I would recommend that you do not use your regular email. I will cover and explain that in a second, but an alias. Update your password to a new one. And also then use your passphrase to again update step number 3 and step number 6 in your mainnet checklist so that it has your wallet in there. And then check that again once per day or so if the information changes again. Yeah. If it changes again, then likely you have in some way, I don't know, maybe you're storing your password insecurely. Maybe you have some, I don't know, malicious app on your phone or so. So if it changes again after you updated your email and your password, and for some reason your email and or wallet address changes again, then I would recommend that you try on a different phone. So I don't know, your partner, your parents or so, install Pi there if it is not installed yet, or if it is installed, log them out from their account if you're sure they know their credentials to log back in. Yeah. And then basically update your stuff there again as well. And then again, check a day after. So every day for at least a week, check and make sure that it doesn't change anymore. Yeah. So because it looks like some user credentials, I assume the devices are compromised because it's only a few users that reported it. And otherwise more users would be affected. Yeah. But better safe than sorry. So check that. Again, your email address in the app, and then step number 3 and step number 6 for the wallet address. If that changed, even if you didn't receive an email, and if you received an email, double check that it comes from an official Pi network address. Now, again, the reminder, if you have a question at the top of the chat, there is a bar that says Q&A. Click on it and then submit your question. Only questions that are submitted this way will be answered. And we're almost there yet. So still a few things to cover before we get into your questions. First of all, what do I mean by email alias? Yeah, so if you have a Gmail address, for example, most providers support it, but you should also look up whichever email provider you use if they support it. Yeah, if your email address would be mike@gmail.com, then automatically aliases like mike at some plus something at gmail.com will also automatically end up in your inbox at mike@gmail.com. Mike plus Pi Network 2019 at gmail.com will also end up, and so on. Yeah. So you get the idea, because if I know your email address, I might be able maybe to to guess your password. Maybe I can brute force it or so. Doesn't matter. So if your email address is mike@gmail.com, then just use mike at not something, but something.com. Yeah. Not .com, but mike plus something at gmail.com. So this way, making it harder for anybody to guess which email address you're using for your Pi account. Especially if you notice, like I just explained to you, if you log into the app and you notice your email has been changed and or your wallet has been changed in the checklist, then use an email alias instead. And again, first check that your provider supports aliases. Otherwise, you can also create a new Gmail account and then use an alias on gmail.com. Yeah. And yeah, that about the aliases. And obviously store your password securely. So having a note on your phone where it says Pi Network and then it says Mike plus something at gmail.com and then it says your password, yeah, is not secure, because that just any app that has access to your notes could theoretically spy on those credentials. So this is not securely. We covered secure password storage in previous episodes and secure passphrase storage as well. So I'm not going to go into that today, but that about that. So that sums up that part that I wanted to share because it's really, really important. Please also take the time to tell other users, so your referral team and so on, about that issue. If you don't want to explain it to them in detail, just share the link to the stream. That's why I covered it in the beginning. So even if they don't care about the rest, I have to share with them that they get that part of the information. And with that, I can remove that from my saved content. Actually, I'm going to keep it for now. We might need it again. Now, the next thing I want to cover, so I don't usually go into complaining about people or so, but you might have seen, so there was already during one of the streams, somebody asked us about why the Bybit CEO, Ben Sao, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, isn't listing Pi Network and so on. And I pointed out maybe they just want to see how it established itself on the market and so on, yeah. But he since then doubled down in this blog post, literally going out of their way, and we're going to quote a few things. A lot of people asked us if we would list Pi on Bybit. We don't interact too much with the project, but we do basic reviews on it like other cryptocurrencies, yeah. Moving on, next quote somewhere. What's weird is that you can't find the team behind the project. They talk about someone at Stanford, but you never meet them in person and hear them talk about their project. Yeah? I was really hoping that the founders or the admin team would come out, maybe do a live stream so people like me could understand it. But instead, they started attacking me and Bybit. Yeah? And again, I'm going to address that all in a second. I just want to get the quotes out first. They advertise that you can get a lot of money back by clicking a button, but they don't say how to make money. Many people don't get anything while there are occasional information leaks. Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. And then he goes on further. Basically, meme coin players understand what it is and they're responsible for the decisions. But with Pi, the project attracts a lot of people but doesn't tell them what's going on. And I'm not sure if that's it. I think that was the last quote in there. Yeah, I'm honestly hugely disappointed. I mean, congratulations for Ben Sao to being a founder or co-founder of a huge exchange and making his millions. Maybe he already made millions in some other ways, so good for him. But you have to be a complete douchebag or moron to basically do zero research and then spew information or disinformation like this. Yeah. So diving into that real quick, and that's the last thing we cover before we get into the questions that you guys shared with me. Yeah. So he claims that they're doing basic reviews on projects like Pi Network, like they do on other cryptocurrencies. Yeah. Then he moves on to say that you cannot find the team behind the project. Yeah. And if we might go to MindPi, about us, they don't list the team here anymore. No, they still have the founders here. Yeah. So it took me 3 seconds to find the team behind the project. Yeah. Or at least the leaders. Not every team member is listed. Oh no, look, more from Pi developers. Oh no, that's 4 developers. Yeah. So not every team member is listed, but the heads of the project, the founders are listed. Yeah. But yeah, you cannot find the project. They talk about someone at Stanford that's literally mentioned. Both of them are listed on the page. You can look them up on LinkedIn. You can look up more. You can even look at the damn Stanford website. There is a sub-page that shows that Pi Network is one of the projects created by alumni of Stanford. Yeah, but you cannot find them. Yeah, so unless, I don't know. Yeah, like, I don't know where he's looking, but yeah. I was really hoping that the founders or the admin team would come out, maybe do a live stream so people like me could understand it. There was literally a video with the launch of the open mainnet published by Zhengdiao Fan, so one of the co-founders, that addresses the open mainnet, and it was even visible in the main screen of the Pi Network app until it got replaced by some other news. Yeah. Yeah, so they advertise that you can get a lot of money by clicking a button. Yeah, that's very interesting. MindPi FAQ. Pi is not free money, yeah, but they advertise. Pi Network doesn't run advertising. Nobody is advertising free money. Yes, there are content creators, me included to some extent, that point out you can get Pi for free by pressing a button once per day. And before we reach the open mainnet, I always pointed out we don't know what value it will have in the end, and it could even fail along the way. But then you only lost 5 seconds of your time. And I'm sure there are Pi Network people, or not Pi Network people, but there are content creators out there and shady influencers, especially the morons that ran around screaming Pi is worth $314,000. Yeah, but no serious person, and especially nobody from Pi Network themselves, ran around and promised people a lot of money, yeah, a lot of money by clicking a button, yeah. But they don't say how to make money. It's literally explained in the white paper how the whole thing works. When you press a button, you earn, or you mine, actually you earn a share of the supply that's being distributed, yeah. Many people don't get anything, which is absolute nonsense. Nobody had to invest anything. And everybody that goes through the migration or mainnet checklist gets their share of Pi. Whatever value it has at the time they get it is a different story, but it doesn't require an investment and everybody gets their share. If they're happy with the value of the share, different question, but utter nonsense, yeah. Moving on, meme coin players understand what it is and they're responsible for their decisions. Literally every person is responsible for their own decisions, but meme coin players, like people investing in, I don't know, like a Trump token and losing in some 120 million or billion, doesn't matter, yeah, I think it was million, definitely don't know what they're doing, because that's why they end up with huge losses. Maybe a small portion of them knows what they're doing. In general, most people trading don't know what they're doing. That's why the rule of thumb is that 90% of people lose 90% of their money within their first 90 days of trading. Yeah. But meme coin players definitely don't understand. Yeah. But with Pi, the project attracts a lot of people, but doesn't tell them what's going on. They are literally, there's a blog where they share updates. There's a whole white paper that explains how it works, and it does not require a single cent of investment. Nobody is forced to buy Pi coins. Everybody could mine them for free, still can, although the mining rate is lower. So I'm really hugely offended. Yeah, if somebody made money and built their business by building a crypto exchange, so benefiting off the whole ecosystem that comes with crypto, it's okay. Bybit is your damn exchange. I'm not using it, so that's perfectly fine. If you don't want to list the coin, then just say, yeah, we're not going to list it because it doesn't fit into our whatever risk appetite or whatever. Yeah, but being a little kid and getting offended because some people made obviously jokes. Bybit, one has to hold it as their benefit that they got hacked and lost $1.5 billion worth of Ethereum. They got hacked by North Korea. By the Lazarus hacking group that operates from there. And they basically covered those losses out of their own pockets from the looks of it, yeah. So kudos to that, respect for doing that and so on, yeah. But obviously people were making jokes that what a coincidence, the Bybit CEO makes some bad statements about Pi Network, and then next thing that happens, they get hacked for 1.5 billion. Yeah, obviously there's no connection. It's already been proven to beyond doubt that basically the hack happened from people from North Korea, as said. But again, it's perfectly fine to say, hey, I don't want to list. Yeah, it's just like if I don't want to answer a specific comment, then or questions, then I also don't have to. Yeah, I'm not forced or obliged to. Then I can just say sorry, but I will not answer that. Yeah, for whatever reason. But going out of your way to bash a project and then claiming all that nonsense when literally now we have an 18-minute long stream. I'm sorry for renting that long, yeah. But we have an 18-minute long stream, and I literally already provided enough evidence that shows every single statement he made in that interview or the quotes that were taken from that interview is wrong. Yeah, it's just beyond me how you can do that. Like, you should be ashamed of yourself, dear Ben Sao. I hope your parents raised you better than this. The least I would expect would be an apology and simply just say you don't want to list it. That's perfectly fine. Obviously, I'm just a small content creator and you are Mr. Billionaire out there. Okay, yeah, maybe you never will get to see this video, also fine. But yeah, anyway, moving on. So if you saw that, now you know how much truth is in that nonsense article, and we are moving on. Again, reminder, if you have specific questions, please submit them in the Q&A thing. So at the top of the chat, Q&A, click on it, submit question. Yeah, hi Lucas, greetings to Vienna, yeah, and hi the rest of you. Some of the names I cannot read right now, but yeah. And with that, I think we have all of the things covered that I wanted to share with you. Also, there's a video. I mean, that's an old video from winter 2021 from our Dr. Niklas, however to pronounce his last name, yeah. But our major CEO, Ben Zhao, is unable to find the team. Yeah. So I don't know, maybe you shouldn't look at Pornhub. Yeah. Use Google instead. Anyway, enough ranting. We're moving on. Switch here and we look at your questions. Yeah. So Ash asked, first come, first serve. So Ash asked, will the second migration happen on Pi Day? I mean, obviously, the real answer only the core team knows, but I will tell you that it's not going to happen. And the reason to that is quite simple. Because as we covered in the past, it's very, very complicated to properly calculate how much of your unverified, that was unverified balance. Same topic or slightly same answer. So will the second migration happen on Pi Day? The answer is no. Why? Because there's still a couple million pioneers that already passed KYC but haven't been migrated. So when we launched the open mainnet, we had 17 million or maybe a little bit more KYC users, but only 10 million that were migrated, which means a month ago we had 7 million users that already passed KYC but did not get a migration. Yeah? And it makes more sense for the project and for the future of the project to first make sure those people get migrated and they get their first share of coins. It doesn't matter if it's a couple hundred or a couple thousand. Yeah. Then it makes sense to give people that already got coins more of them. Yeah. So it really makes way more sense. Everybody wants to get coins because everybody's speculating how much they would be worth right now. Some people are thinking long term, others are already imagining what they will buy when they instantly sell. Yeah, but it makes more sense to migrate more users so more users can use the ecosystem. So the second migration will, in my opinion, only happen once there is no backlog of migrations. So once there's basically, if today 10,000 people pass KYC, they get migrated tomorrow automatically. And then it makes sense to look into the migration of all the other people. So no, I don't expect a second migration, especially not on Pi Day. And yeah. Moving on, David asks, please, other than phone number and email, how can I log into my Pi account? I shared it. I think it was the stream on Thursday that we had. It's an unverified method, but theoretically, one user shared with me that what he did, and that requires you still remember the passphrase of your wallet. When you open up the Pi Network app, I cannot show that to you because I would have to log out, which I'm not going to do. Yeah. But when you open the Pi Network app, you click on login. And then he mentioned that somewhere on top, he could click on cancel. And then it asked him to enter the passphrase, or he clicked on cancel and it brought him to the main Pi screen. Yeah. And then whatever he pressed didn't help. And then he opened the menu from the top or so and was able to log in with his passphrase. Check out last Thursday's stream. There I shared the exact text of how he explained that it worked. I'm not sure that it works like this. It's not proven. But outside of, knowing your username / email or phone number and then password, I don't know how you would be able to get into your Pi account. But theoretically, as I said, one user reported, and that's just one single user. So far, nobody confirmed it, that it might also work just with the passphrase, assuming that you already have confirmed your passphrase in step 3 and step 6 and so on. Yeah. Damien asks, hello, Damien. In your opinion, do you reckon Pi will allow us to have more than one wallet in the future? Asking because I have 1,000 in a wallet that I could not access at the time. Theoretically, you could already create more wallets. Yeah. So you can create a new wallet, but you cannot receive coins in that wallet until it gets activated by migration. So if you plan to have multiple wallets and you already received the migration in the first wallet, you could go ahead and create a second one. Obviously, it will have a different passphrase, and make sure to store both of them securely, and then update your mainnet checklist, step 3 and step 6 with the new wallet. And then when the next migration happens, it goes to the new wallet, and with that activates your second wallet. Yeah. Additionally, somebody on the Pi Network subreddit on reddit.com, so I'm going to just share the link to that subreddit. 1 second, I'm going to share that in the chat, so live chat. So somebody on that Pi Network subreddit already shared a script that you can use, although it requires some technical skills, to basically create additional wallets from the same seed phrase. But I'm then not sure if you can access all different sub-wallets in quotes in the Pi Wallet app in your browser. But this way, if you derive them from the same seed phrase, just like with Bitcoin, for example, you can also have multiple wallets, but that's one seed phrase and still multiple wallets. So if you derive them from the same seed phrase, they would theoretically already be activated. But the problem also is if your seed phrase is compromised, all those wallets are compromised. Yeah. So I hope that answers that a little bit. So the short answer is there's no real way right now to create a wallet that you can already use. What I'm not sure about, one last option here might be, as far as I remember, or as far as I recall, the OKX wallet app supports Pi, and in order for it to support Pi, it actually would need to be able to create an activated wallet. Yeah. So I'm not sure if they support it in a way that you can just import it by entering your passphrase, or if they support it in a way that you could create a new wallet and that would then support Pi. If it's the second one, it probably would require linking the OKX wallet app with your OKX account and having your OKX account KYC verified, but that would also be worth a try. But I'm not sure if that will indeed be allow you to create a completely new wallet that already can receive Pi coins. Yeah, but so yeah, those are the options. Moving on. Kairu, welcome. What will happen to the unverified balance after these 3-4 days? And if we receive any Pi from it, when can we send it to our wallet? There are a few questions in there. So in 4 days, on the 14th of March, the KYC deadline actually ends, which means whoever doesn't pass KYC forfeits at least the coins that are older than 6 months. Because for new users, we have a 6-month grace period, which means if you sign up today, you have a total of 6 months to complete basically your mainnet checklist. So you have 1 month where you have to mine, then you can submit KYC, then you hopefully pass it. And if not, you have time to figure things out because you have overall 6 months. Yeah. If you don't submit KYC and pass it within 6 months, then that window moves further and any Pi you earned before just are forfeited. Yeah. And the same should apply here. So on the 14th, whoever hasn't at least submitted KYC and then passes it, will lose coins that are older than 6 months, maybe even everything up till today, but the fair thing would be older than 6 months. Yeah. For you, that means if you have referrals, security circle members, and so on, then you earned coins from them. You see that in the Pi app. If we jump there for a second and you go on your mining rate, then you can see at the bottom the breakdown. So you got a 100% booster for having 5 people in your security circle. You have a lockup reward. That's not an issue with the grace period deadline, but you also might have referrals and you get a boost from that as well. Yeah. And so, while for example, my boosts look incredible, but if those people didn't pass KYC or don't pass it in time, I will eventually lose those Pi. Yeah, because they didn't pass KYC. So I hope that makes sense. Now, the last part of your questions, when can we send it to our wallet? You cannot at the moment manually do anything. I know when you go to mainnet, it tells you transferable balance, and you can press transfer, which just takes you to the checklist because there's no automation or full automation for the migrations yet. In the future, I expect, and with future, I mean probably maybe end of the year, early next year, that this part will also be automated more. And but even so, the core team first has to run the calculations, and basically for every one of your mining sessions, so every day you push the button, it has to check which of your security circle members was online, which of your referrals were online, which of them passed KYC, how much did they contribute, which of them didn't pass KYC, and so on, to calculate exactly how much of that unverified balance you're going to get. And that is going to take time. And considering that there's still 7 million users roughly, or 6 million maybe, or 5 million left that passed KYC but haven't even been migrated, and probably multiple million of users that haven't passed KYC yet, or maybe even not even submitted their application, I believe that the team will only run those calculations maybe also at the end of this year, maybe early next year. So it will still take time before people get their unverified balance. And I think while people are impatient, it actually is good because it means that the circulating supply only increases slowly and not suddenly there's 100 or 200 or 500 million or a billion coins more in circulation. Yeah. So I think while it might feel annoying, imagine how I'm feeling. I have 4 million Pi in unverified balance. Yes, I will not get most of it, but even thinking about, or I would like to know how much I would get. and then thinking about how much that would be worth right now, yeah, and so on. So imagine how it is for me and imagine how it is for everybody else. We all can just wait. The good thing is, or the good news here is, so far the core team delivered on everything they planned. Some things they haven't delivered on yet, but are still in progress, of course. So we have no reason to worry. And the longer it drags out, as long as it doesn't take too long, of course, but the longer certain things take, the better actually the impact on the circulating supply. Yeah? Which also brings us to our next question from Charles Joseph. Hello, please, can you briefly explain what Pi utility means? Well, it's relatively self-explanatory. It means what kind of use cases there are for Pi. Yeah? Because if there's nothing you can use your Pi for, then the only thing to do with it is sell. And if there's nothing you can use it for, then nobody has a reason to buy. And if everybody is just selling and nobody's buying, the price will go to zero really, really fast. Yeah. So Pi utility means that basically building use cases. If you, however, mean in the circumstances with, so because I just realized you could mean that, 1 second. So if you mean it in relation with the utility usage bonus here that we can see at the bottom, I have to hide your question for a second. Yeah. So here at the bottom, the 0.34, that means basically interacting with the Pi ecosystem. No, I am. Just refresh maybe you might be behind in the video, yeah. So that means interacting with the Pi ecosystem. So which means in the Pi browser, for example, being active in the Fireside community or being active in the chat rooms or exploring the different, you see the bottom button, explore the Pi ecosystem. So using that button and then using different apps in the ecosystem, that affects your utility bonus, yeah. I hope that makes sense. So I'm going to answer the rest of the questions real quick and then no new questions for today. So we don't make the stream too long. So other people that want to watch the replay also don't feel overwhelmed. Sunrise asks, okay, last question submitted from David Okechi and then it's done, yeah?
It's already multiple times.
How do you know if you can retrieve a deleted account? No, if an account is deleted, you ask for it to be deleted and therefore it should be deleted. So there will be no way to retrieve it. You just can create a new account and start from the beginning. Sorry that you, in quotes, then feel like you missed out. But on the other hand, keep in mind, you're still early. There is less than 20 million users migrated. There's still 8 billion people out there that have 0 Pi. So just create a new account, get back at it. Sorry, guys. Feel free to use my referral code or it's somewhere pinned in all the videos or use somebody else's, perfectly fine. Actually use the referral code of the person that first told you about the project. Yeah. If that happened to be one of my videos, please use mine. If somebody else told you first about the project, then ask them for the referral code because they then deserve you as their referral and just jump in the project again. Yeah. Yeah, that one we already answered. So please in the future, do not submit the same thing over and over again. I'm getting to it. Akashi is asking, how can we just bait you into showing you your 24-word passphrase? Yeah. Yeah, maybe I'll do that as a troll. Maybe I create a second wallet and then show it mistakenly at some point. But yeah. Other than that, it's not going to happen. So that's one thing I'm going to be very, very careful about. And even if it were to happen right now, you could only get your hands at like 2,000 Pi that will unlock in the future. So I could just create a new wallet and then have the rest migrated to the new wallet. So it will not really make you rich either. So yeah. How can I log in with, so David Okechi asked, how can I log in with my username, please? Well, you still need to know your pass name. I think it should work with your username. I'm not 100% sure because I haven't logged out of my Pi Network app in a couple of years. So there, to be fair, if you have like more technical issues or so, feel free. I shared it earlier. I'm going to share it again. I'm going to switch the screen real quick for a second. So go to the Pi Network subreddit. If you don't have a Reddit account, create one. And there you will always find on top the weekly discussion and help post. And then ask for help in there, provide details. So provide details about, are you on Android or iOS? Which version of the app do you have? So did you update to the latest version or not? Which version of Android or iOS are you running? And what's your issue? So you're trying to log in, but you don't remember this, or you don't remember that, and so on, yeah? And maybe there is no option to log in with the username alone. I'm sorry then if I gave you false hope, yeah? There's so much information, it's hard to always remember all of it, yeah? But ask there, and somebody will definitely tell you if it works and how it works. And last question for today. I heard that if someone follows you in Pi browser that you would increase your mining rate. Is that correct? I don't believe it works like this. I cannot tell you with 100% certainty. What I believe happens is the following. In order to follow somebody in the ecosystem, you actually first have to find them in the ecosystem, which means you have to use the Pi browser. And the Pi browser, when you use it, counts as utility usage bonus. So I believe that following alone is not really what makes the difference. I believe that people going to the Pi browser to find the profile and then follow just counts as usage bonus. And people now mistakenly think that it is, if you follow more people, you permanently increase your bonus. I don't think that's the case, but I also don't know it 100% for sure. You feel free to follow more people. It definitely will at least temporarily increase your usage bonus. Maybe it helps you permanently, so it doesn't hurt trying, but I don't think that's the case. It would make no sense, because then you just go follow once, then you never go into the Pi browser again, and then the whole purpose of trying to motivate you to use the Pi browser more would not happen. Yeah. So but that's it for today. I hope, or wrong button, sorry. Actually, one very, very last thing, because I'm sure many of you are worried. We do it at last. Obviously, we saw the Pi price decline a little bit further. We are now around $1.30 per Pi. If we just look at, I don't know how I zoom here in an unfortunate way. If we look at this, I don't know, last day actually looks good. Last 7 days looks not that good. Yeah. But if we look at the long-term chart, it still looks fine. We're a little bit below the launch price that CoinMarketCap recorded. We're still above $1. We're still around $10 billion market cap, and that's without any great use cases for Pi right now. It still remains to be seen if Binance will announce a listing. On that front, I have to say, I'm not sure if I'm impressed or if I'm a little bit disappointed by the, I don't know, thousands or more than 100,000, or I don't know how many people went to the App Store to leave 1-star review for the Binance app and bitch around about them not listing Pi. Obviously, for big businesses, the decision to list the coin and then actually follow through takes time, unless the exception are the exchanges that already decided that they will list it before the open mainnet. But for exchanges like Binance, that just basically last week, it's been a little bit more than last week, but only recently finished the poll of the community and now have to internally debate and decide. I'm not sure if they will be more likely to list Pi after the community decides to just behave like little kids and give them 1-star reviews. But as far as the price development goes, it would obviously, in my opinion, have a positive impact if Binance were to announce a listing. And I actually would expect them to list it, because Pi so far holds up very well. It has a lot of trading volume, which is everything that matters for an exchange, because that's how they make money, from a small cut of every trade. Yeah. And however, I'm not sure if the behavior of the Pi community to leave 1-star reviews on Binance will not have the opposite effect and make them say, screw this, we don't need that extra revenue. If the community behaves like that, we don't want them. Yeah. So maybe if you're one of those people that left the review, maybe delete the review or put it, or make it a more neutral review, or I don't know. Yeah. Or leave it a 1-star review, because the damage is done. So, that's where we will end it for today. I hope you got some answers and you hope you learned something new. Don't forget, if you have referrals or friends that use Pi Network, feel free or share this video with them. Also, don't forget, do me a favor, just hit the thumbs up button, because that really helps the video a lot. And with that helps me and the community a lot, because more people get to see the information, especially the part in the beginning that's very important about the changed email address and changed wallets. And with that, I'm going to say thank you all for being here and have a great rest of the day. And then we see you all hopefully tomorrow for another episode of Comment Chaos Live. Till then, bye-bye.